So after owning the PS5 since 2021, I've heard the phrase that's been thrown around that the PS5 has no games. And after 5 years of being out, the PS5 has no games. In the 5 years that the PS5 has been out, there have only been four exclusives that haven't been ported to PC yet. Now, while I believe in people being able to experience all video games no matter what, this also kind of makes my $500 purchase a waste. I want to defend my console and justify my purchase, but with everything being on PC now and no games have been released on it, I have no choice but to agree with people when they say that statement. So, in my hands right now is a stack of PS2 games. These PS2 games already eclipse the number of exclusives on PS5. But think about this. This is only like 10% of the exclusives that were released on the PS2. And all these are like fantastic games. Like, you could spend hours on these. But what are we doing? This is a console from 2000. It's 2025. So in today's video, we're going to be reviewing all the important PS5 exclusive games. The ones that sold very well, and the ones I would consider system sellers. Now, the ones I chose for this video are Astrobot, Spider-Man 2, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Silent Hill 2 Remake, Stellar Blade, Demon Souls. And now, I haven't played any of the FF7 remakes, but those are coming to Nintendo Switch too, so they're not exclusives anymore. Also, Forspoken and Returnal, they're exclusives, but everyone knows that Forspoken kind of sucks, and Returnal, I haven't played that, but I also hear it didn't sell very well, so I wouldn't consider it a system seller. Not that it's not good or anything, I hear it's good, but, just unfortunately sold less than a million copies. And I also know that Spider-Man 2 and Ratchet& and Clank and Silent Hill 2 are all on PC, but these are like tagged as system sellers, and these are all very important franchises to Sony. So I'm gonna keep them on this list, and without them, this video would be like 5 minutes long.
I'm absolutely crazy about it!
Where's your motivation?
Starting off with Demon Souls, I just don't have too much to say about this game. Like, visually, it is beautiful to look at. Like, it is a beautiful looking game. But gameplay-wise, no changes have been made, but that's for the better because the original Demon Souls is such an intricate and beautiful world, and the combat, there's no reason to change it. So I think if they were to make any changes to the gameplay or world, it would have been for the worse. But aside from that, as a launch title, it's very confusing why PlayStation would bundle this with the PS5, as casual audiences aren't patient enough to play a Souls game. And I'm one of those dudes. Like, I have a really, really hard time with those games. Like, a very, very hard time. It's very challenging for me to play one of those games. I think it would have been smarter to bundle the PS5 with the Spider-Man Miles Morales game with the Spider-Man remaster, as it would have probably reached a more general audience. But I'm glad this game exists, and I'm glad more people got to experience Demon Souls because it is a really good game. But other than that, I think it's a solid title. It's definitely worth checking out. But it's nothing too crazy.
I'm absolutely crazy about it!
This may be fun.
Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is, in my opinion, the second best exclusive on the PS5. Now, that isn't much to say because there's only like 4 exclusives on the PS5.
Are you fucking serious? This isn't enough for anything. What are you, a 6-year-old?
But the gameplay is pretty good. It's what you usually expect from a Ratchet & Clank game. It's fun, fast-paced, the movement is pretty fluid, and all the weapons are unique. I like that the jet boots and the wall running are something that they're expanding upon more from Into the Nexus. And Rivet and Kit are welcome additions to the game, but I think that their relationship isn't all that well developed. Like, Kit ripped off Rivet's arm, and that was never, like, talked about. Like, it was never, like, they just kind of made up at the end. They didn't have, like, any turmoil between them throughout the game. That's another problem with the game, the writing. Sometimes there are moments in this game that feel, like, really, really good, but then, like, relationships that could have been expanded upon, like Ratchet and Rivet's, like, they're not. Ratchet could have taught Rivet from his experiences, but he's just kind of like, don't feel this way, it's wrong. And Rivet and Kit's relationship also, they don't interact much in the game, and I think that they probably could have at least a couple more interactions within the game to really strengthen their relationship, like Ratchet and Clank's in the first game. But also, this game kind of feels a little rushed. Like, when I'm playing the game and I'm, like, exploring these beautiful open worlds, I feel like there's a feeling of just, there should be more here. Like, there's something missing. Like, there's something that should have been added, but it's just not here. This game is optimized very well. I didn't run into any glitches or didn't run into any optimization issues. It's really fun to play, but I would kind of consider this like a pre-end game Marvel movie. It's fun to watch in theaters. It's something that you'll probably only play once, and it's just a good time, but nothing memorable. I didn't hate anything in this game at all whatsoever, but I'm not gonna like praise it as it's like the greatest exclusive ever made because there are better Ratchet and Clank games that have been released for other systems. But it's solid, and I think it's definitely something that you should pick up for like 40, 30 bucks. I think $70 for this game is kind of outrageous, even though I paid $70 for it. But that's we all make mistakes. But it's a good game. It's a solid game. Spider-Man 2 taught me the meaning of the word disappointment. Now, this game was clearly rushed. It has less features than the first one released in 2018 on the PS4. This game doesn't have any DLC. It took 8 months for a new game plus to be added. 60% of Peter's suits are reused, and there are less things to do in the open world than the first game. Now, that's not the developer's fault. That was Sony's fault for, rushing it. And instead of letting it like cook for another year, they needed a system seller quick, and it did its job. It sold 11 million copies, but now it ruins the credibility of Insomniac, and it makes me fear for the third game, which is a feeling I don't like. Now, you can tell that this game was rushed from the second half. You have the black suit for it feels like 5 minutes, and here it goes from normal to symbiote infested in like one mission. Plus, making Harry Venom in this game was just a stupid move. I don't like when anybody does that. I think the guys at Insomniac really wrote themselves into a corner with making the symbiote the thing that kept Harry alive. Because now that means he had to be Venom. No one else could possibly be Venom but him. Peter and Harry's relationship in this game was also really good, but it was so good that I felt whatever hatred and turmoil that brewed between them, it just felt like something that could have like been talked out. They could have talked it out. They could have actually worked it out instead of like hating each other. I don't think Harry had a strong enough reason to hate Peter. If he was like a scientist, he should probably be able to conclude that, oh, once Peter got the black suit, he started acting weird. Maybe the black suit is the reason why he's doing that. Which, something that he never thought of. I can understand he was angry because he was dying and he needed the black suit, but I think some common sense would be something that Harry would have, right? I also think the way Venom was adapted was pretty horrible too. The symbiote was never violent. Peter made it that way. The symbiote never wanted to take over the world. The movie version of Riot wanted to do that. Like, what made Eddie's and Peter's relationship so special was the hatred that Eddie had towards Peter. Eddie hated Spider Man for ruining his life. Eddie blamed everything on Spider Man and didn't take responsibility for any of his actions, which is a clear contrast between Eddie and Peter's views on life. And when he finally got the symbiote, Eddie was off of one. He showed up in Peter's apartment to freak out Mary Jane. He had dinner with Aunt May just to get at Peter and even pushed him in front of his subway car. Like, this shows that he knew Peter. Like, Peter was not safe from him. Eddie was there 24/7. This dude was a hater, right? The symbiote didn't just hate Peter, Eddie hated Peter. And that personal connection was lost with Harry. And Harry didn't even want to take over the world. It was just a symbiote. Like, Harry didn't even want to do any of the things that the symbiote was doing. Also, I want to let everyone know that the symbiote isn't the goofy, silly side of Venom. That's Eddie saying and doing all those things, not the symbiote. Now, do I think the game should have had Eddie as a villain? No. The way Insomniac wrote the story left no room for Eddie to be Venom whatsoever. And it's unfortunate that Eddie Brock hasn't been adapted correctly as Venom. But what I was trying to say with that statement is that Peter and Harry are childhood friends, but there's not enough motive for Harry to truly despise Peter without it feeling out of character. Also, Peter doesn't really learn anything in this game. Like, what character arc does he go through? What does he gain at the end of the game? What knowledge does he learn after seeing his best friend be put into a coma? Nothing. He learns nothing. The first game story was probably some of the best Spider Man writing we've had in years, especially the ending of the game. Peter decides to let go of the past and sacrifices Aunt May for the greater good of New York. Peter grows up in this game and he makes a difficult adult decision, but that's what makes Spider Man. He knew that he had to be responsible, and that was a very responsible choice that he made. He let go of one of the most important people in his life and basically the only link that he had to his childhood for the greater good. And it ended with him making an adult decision that forced him to move on with his life, which is something that the comics still can't do. Well, Marvel doesn't want to do that. The first game honestly completed his character arc to the point where there was not much left to do with his character. So I understand why Miles would have a more prominent role in the sequels. But he doesn't really do much either. He goes through a bit of an arc with Martin Lee. It ends up forgiving him for the death of his father and learns forgiveness, which is all fine and dandy, right? But within the main plot, he really had no business of being there. Like, I mean, aside from, like, I guess helping Peter out. I'm all for Miles being the next Spider Man, like the next main Spider Man. But all these games are focused on Peter's and his villains. This is Peter's story, not Miles. Miles has no personal connection with Dr. Octopus, Norman Osborn, nor Harry. So in the third game, it would make sense that, like, he wouldn't be the main Spider-Man. Miles should get his own trilogy of games with his own villains. But right now, we should let Peter finish his story. I also forgot to mention Craven in this game because he was not utilized very well. I think the game would have been better without him. Craven's Last Hunt is something that is hard to adapt as a video game because it is such a personal story between Peter and Craven, and these games are like really, really big blockbuster action type games, and this story is like so Like, it's not insignificant whatsoever, but it's like between two people, and it's something that's like very, very grounded that I don't think they could possibly adapt because it's such a personal story between Peter and Craven, and it's too grounded for these games. So I think it was just like you can't really adapt a story like that into a game that Insomniac is trying to make. But other than that, the game looks really good, runs very well, but the combat is just like kind of okay. There's not a big change from the first game. They actually get less features because there aren't as many web gadgets, and the web gadgets make the combat a little too easy. I think it would have been better to just have the weapon wheel instead of like being able to do it on the fly like that. I like all the special moves that you get with the symbiote, but when you switch to the symbiote, it should have a completely different moveset for Peter, just like Web of Shadows did. Let me use this as an example. In Peter's regular suit in Web of Shadows, he's more faster and agile, and he kind of fights like a Street Fighter character. But when he switches to the symbiote, his moveset is different, like completely different. It's more heavier, slower, stronger, more aggressive. You can even surfboard on enemies. And that was awesome. I don't know why Insomniac didn't do anything like that. Probably because, it was rushed, but I don't know if they had an idea to do something like that. And I don't think there's enough difference between the gameplay that you have when you have the symbiote on and when you have the regular suit on to like be like, oh, this is mind blowing compared to Web of Shadows. And I also think that you should have been able to switch to the symbiote suit on the fly, just like Web of Shadows did, which is a game on the PS3 with no SSD. And Spider-Man 2 is a game on the PS5 with an SSD, and it won't let you do that. That is kind of surprising. That's kind of like really, really strange. That's awesome how we're going backwards, like, as the years go on. But the final consensus for this game is that it's a AAA game, but it's not the full AAA experience. Get this on sale and not for $69.99 like I did. On pre-order day, by the way, I stayed up till 12 a.m. to get this game. And one last thing, someone please write Miles better. He sounds like some old white guy got in the writer's chair and said to himself, well, this is what the kids are interested in nowadays. Like, dude, talk to a real teenager, see how they act, and give him something to differentiate himself from Peter. Right now, bro is just a nerd with superpowers, kind of like Peter was when he was a kid, but you can let Miles be cool, be confident, and be his own character. Like, he doesn't have to be the same. He doesn't have to have that same like character progression as Peter Parker. If the game's title for Miles is "Be Yourself," just let him be himself. You don't have to like, make him like, oh, if Peter Parker's gone, then he has to be the next Peter Parker. Let Miles be his own characters like they did in the movies.
I'm absolutely crazy about it! Jackpot.
The Silent Hill 2 remake is exactly what I thought it was. A really fun and cool remake of the game that doesn't change too much from what it was initially. Obviously, graphically wise and the third person over the shoulder camera is a big change. And it is a little smoother than the first game. But story wise, I don't think there really was any changes that I noticed while playing this game. Just like the Demon Souls remake, I don't have too much to say on it. I mean, it's a fantastic looking game, but I think that because of the graphical change, it also kind of like takes away from some of the atmosphere that the original one like had. I also like the voice acting in the original game more than this one. And now the voice acting in this game is much better than the original one, but the uncanny feeling that the original one had is something that can't be captured, and then just like it just played into the atmosphere that the original Silent Hill 2 was creating. And the OG Silent Hill 2 is something everyone should experience. And I really don't want to spoil anything from this game because James's journey of accepting on like what he did is something that everyone should experience on their own. And this remake is a good way of experiencing that. I think it's a great remake, it's fantastic. But if you can play the OG one, I'd say play it because I don't think there's an experience like that one. Yeah, no, that's all I got to say. It's a good remake, but the OG one is something that everyone should also experience as well.
I'm absolutely crazy about it!
Yo, we gotta get the Gooners out of the video game industry, man. Like, Twin, I'm trying to play a video game, not stare at ass for 15 hours, man. Like, come on now. To be honest with you, I kind of think this game is a little mid. Like, graphically, the game looks really good, and the character design is pretty solid. But the combat, which is the main selling point of the game, right, is just kind of okay. Like, and this really hurts to say. I hate using this word, but it's a problem with all action games. The Souls-like inspiration, like be yourself. You don't have to pretend to be another game to, attract people to play you. People enjoy uniqueness than this. Because it's not straight copying the game. It's just like there's too much influence from Dark Souls, from what I would say. Now, like the moves you do in this game look cool, but they don't feel cool. This is actually more akin to Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance than anything. Like in that game, you have other weapons that look cool and do cool things, but they're not very useful. And the enemies within the game aren't all that juggleable, which is a problem in Stellar Blade as well. I understand that the enemies within the game are supposed to be challenging and they're supposed to be tough to fight. But if you want the player to take advantage of the combat, you should at least let some enemies be able to be experimented on. I think this game has cool things in it, but the general problem with all modern action games is that there's no substance. Like everything tries to replicate Dark Souls in some certain way because it's too afraid to do anything new or different. This game is just okay, but it's definitely not a $70 experience. If you guys want to play a really good action game for $30, just buy the DMC5 Special Edition when it's on sale. And when it's on sale, it's like 15 bucks. Yeah, anyways, no, this game's just kind of like it's just really okay. I wouldn't buy this unless it was like 20 bucks. Yo, this game is so peak, bro. I mean, this game is so peak, bro. Like, yo, no intro needed, man. The aesthetic is awesome. The character design is really good. I love the art style that it goes for. I mean, everything in this game just screams personality, right? It brings me back to the fun days of Sly Cooper and Jack and Daxter, and when Neil Druckmann didn't have a dictatorship over Naughty Dog. Yo, like, isn't it insane that we got three platformers with their own unique style, characters, and worlds on one console that was released in 2000? Crazy, right? Stuff like that don't happen no more because no one wants to make money. I love this game. This game is pretty good. I'm gonna kind of cut it short here because I want to play more of it. But anyways, buy this game. Sony, bring back your old platformers and make new ones. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. This game's pretty peak. You guys should play it, and it's probably the best PlayStation exclusive out there. So after everything has been said and done, the PS5 has no games that are worth getting it for, right? When your console is like solely made up of remakes, that's not a good thing. And I know that PS5 has some like exclusives that aren't remakes, but a lot of the games I talked about here were remakes of older titles. I like remakes, don't get me wrong, but I just think that we should start making sequels to, older IPs that need a sequel, or new IPs. Just make new ideas that will like cultivate a new console, right? Isn't that what we should be doing? But PS5 is kind of mid. You might as well just buy a PC because everything is getting ported to PC anyways. And with the console prices being like, it's $800 for an Xbox. Who was getting an Xbox in the first place? PS5 has no games, then the Xbox must be a barren wasteland. So, and Nintendo Switch, I mean, $90 video games is come on now. No video game is worth nothing is worth $90. But the PS5, don't get it. And Last of Us 2, please stop like porting it. Please stop porting The Last of Us as well. They don't need to be remakes of The Last of Us. How about Naughty Dog make some real games? Because they all kind of suck. And if you guys want a true AAA experience that PlayStation has released, then go play. It's Ghost of Tsushima. This game is worth that $60 experience. $60, by the way. It's not 70 bucks like everything else is because this was released on the PlayStation 4 and not the PS5. Visually, this is one of the best games I think ever released. It has a beautiful open world, and there's so much things to explore in this game. And I think the story is fantastic between Jin and his uncle. Um, yeah, no, the combat is buttery smooth and it's simple, but it's rewarding. And I think the pairing system is really great. And there's a lot of great mechanics within it as well. You can get a lot out of the combat. It's a very well polished game that has a meaningful story, and it's probably one of the most complete games I've played in a very long time. And it also has a DLC that is completely worth the $30 price tag that it asked for. This game probably should have won Game of the Year in 2020 instead of The Last of Us 2. But whatever. Anyways, guys, if you mess with this video, subscribe or some. Other than that, stay halal.